Got it. Nice to see everybody's faces popping on. Great. Hi, Ben, Jess, Amy. Hi, Robin and Melissa and Jason. Steve, excited to hear from you today. All right, what do you think, Jen? Should we go ahead and get started? We may have a couple more people pop on, but I know we want to make sure that we have a good amount of time to talk about coaching.
Yep, I can go ahead with at least my updates and then hand things off to Steve. But welcome everyone. It is nice and warm in Northwest Indiana, unfortunately already, but hope you are enjoying the weather by you all. But just a few updates from the NCHL perspective. We have some last minute spots that have come up for our coaching cohort. We're looking at our August cohort with HCI. They have a healthcare specific, healthcare focused cohort that there are 3 spots remaining in that. So if you have interest, want to learn more about that, feel free to shoot me an email and we can set up some time to discuss. But we have 3 spots available in that. The other thing I want to highlight is, of course, our conference in November. I'll keep telling you this for the next several months, but we've closed abstracts and I'm really confident that we have some great content that's going to be coming out for our November conference, especially in the leadership development space. So November 18th through the 20th, put it on your calendars. Primary contacts, will also be getting an email in the next week or so because we'll be opening up registration. So we'll be able to share all the information for you to claim any complimentary tickets that you're planning to claim for this year's conference. Also Gail Warden, the same time frame for later this fall, November 19th. The committee is still reviewing those nominations, so we should have someone named later this summer. Other than that, like I said, abstracts are closed, but we're looking forward to some great content for conference. Any questions on events coming up or things in the pipeline? Okay. Well, I will hand things off to Steve. Appreciative of his attendance today and sharing some of the things that Intermountain is doing in terms of culture around coaching. So Steve, take it away.
All right. Well, it's good to be with everyone today. And let me see if I can share here. Looks like it's saying I can't start screen sharing while another person is sharing. So there we go. Let's try again now. Okay. All right. Well, maybe what I could do is just quickly introduce myself and then we can go from there. The presentation that I have today is three slides long and you're looking at one of them. And so we're not going to do, the massive amount of PowerPointing, but I believe we've set up a conversation that if you find it interesting, we can have a chat. My name is Steve Gibbons. I'm the coaching and mentoring program manager at Intermountain Health. I've been with Intermountain Health for about 8 years. I've been in coaching for 7 of those. I am a PCC coach with ICF. If that means anything, does that mean anything to anybody out there? Okay, all right. I see heads nodding. Do we have any other PCCs or MCCs on the line? All right, Ben, fantastic. So what that means is Ben has been through a lot to get that darn thing. And most recently for me, passing the exam on my second try, that thing is a beast. So if you want to chat about the path towards ACC and PCC, give me a call. I'm primed and ready and have lots to share. I am also a mentor coach, and I'm a certified mentor coach. Love doing that work. It's tons of fun. And so I'm also a coach educator, have designed and built coach education courses at Intermountain Health. And so this whole coaching thing, I'm really into it, and I love coaching. Personally, coaching has kind of changed my personal life culture. I thought I was, I thought I listened well. I thought I was good with people. I thought all these things in my years and years of leadership development, of being in this industry for quite some time. I thought I was all those things. And when I experienced coaching and added coaching into my leadership approach and just into all of the approaches of my life, personal included, things seem to bloom and blossom in different ways that I wasn't aware of and previously. And so now I'm on a coaching journey and just loving it. I also want to call out my good friend on the line, Robin Betts, who's also with Intermountain Health. And Robin, just an invitation if you want to say anything at any point, or bolster or refute things that are shared, feel free. Robin and I have been in this journey for a while too together, so it's exciting to have her here. Okay, well, good. And also, can I just say, seriously, I've got 3 slides, and we've just burned through the first. And let's make this a dialogue. If you have questions, I'm also interested about how coaching is going at your place. And so, let's make sure that we get questions answered and just kind of have a robust dialogue. Would be very interested in that. Oh, thanks, Robin. That's nice. Okay, well, here we go. Slide 2. We're halfway there. So I've titled this slide kind of a 1, 2, 3 generative leadership coaching culture. And what you're going to see here displayed is a good amount that's already in place and definitely some things that we're working on. So it's a little bit of a work plan for us that we'll be showing. And so it's kind of fun to talk about these things, and we'll just step through it. So the coaching culture that we want to set up is a generative one, and I think it'll come out as we piece through this. So here's how things work. We have about 75 internal coaches at Intermountain Health. And what this means is that they are volunteer coaches. They are not paid as coaches. So we have no paid coaches other than they layer this into the work that they already do in their current roles. They report up through their current managers. My role as a coaching program manager is to be their coaching supervisor, which means that the coaching function does report up through me. And at the end of the day, they're answerable to me, if you will, for their performance and their growth and for the coaching that happens. But all the reporting structures are still in place as per usual. So our leaders engage in coaching. We have different types of coaching. We invite all of our leaders to engage in coaching, as well as our caregivers, and we'll talk about that. Our leaders through 3 to 6 month types of engagements where we contract, just like a formal coaching agreement. We contract, we set our agreements together, we move through setting outcomes with our leaders. And it's all the things that a leader experiences. You know, being a leader can be very lonely and it can be very scary at times. And we find that coaching provides a space for leaders to have conversations that they otherwise would not be able to have at work. And frankly, maybe not even at home, because sometimes those conversations at home are also very scary, bringing these big work decisions, et cetera, et cetera. People at home may not want to hear that. And so coaching is a space where our leaders can come, we can have confidential conversations, and at all levels. In fact, we coach from frontline leaders all the way up to the C-suite. And I would say that many of the C-suite, the very tippy top, we like them to actually go external with external coaches. That's our preference. We do have a few coaches who can coach at that level. And you can imagine within the 75 coaches that we have that they're at all different levels of development, all the way from literally just being minted, all the way to, you know, PCC type level coaches. Okay. And then we have something also called Ask a Coach, which is exciting. It's a service that we've set up through Microsoft Bookings that allows any caregiver, you know, to hit our coaching website and say, you know what, I need to have a confidential conversation about something developmental or maybe performance related. And they hit that button and they can schedule, just throw 30 minutes on any of our coaches' calendars. And we have different flavors of it. We have career coaching. We have change management coaching. Do any of your leaders experience change at work? Constantly, right? It's definitely the new normal. DEIB coaching. And just really, it's just, we're trying to make coaching services, confidential conversations, you know, available to any leader or caregiver who would care to. Now, here's some exciting data that is about 2 weeks off the press. If you look at the asterisks below, teams whose leaders engage with Intermountain Health certified coaches outperform Intermountain Health overall team averages for engagement and inclusion. That was a pretty darn nerdy finding that we found. And, you know, coaching really does improve. Thank you, Aubrey. Extra points for you. But you know, it's pretty exciting to think, you know what, hey, leaders that do come and engage with coaches, there's something extra there. They're gaining something. And that's exciting. The quality of leadership there is improved. Okay, now here's where we start to get into the generative piece of all of this. Okay, so this may look normal. Here's where we're starting to geek out in some cool and different ways. So here's step 2. Leaders engage in development and performance coaching training. Okay, now let me just call out that there's a difference between the two. Okay, there's a difference between developmental coaching and performance coaching. If you were to think about what developmental coaching is, go ahead and chat in a thought, a word or two. What would you be coaching on in developmental coaching? Oh yeah, you're going to work through this one. This is a working session. Yep, yeah, you betcha. Thanks, Julie. What else in developmental? A leader in developmental coaching. Okay, yep. Yeah, maybe some leadership behavior that's not where they want it to be. And again, remember, coaching is a pull activity. Okay, it's not a push activity. We don't regularly receive clients who, you know, have been assigned to come to coaching. This is not, you know, punitive in nature. In fact, none of our coaching is punitive. Okay, leadership tenets, competencies. Yeah, you got it. Okay, so that's developmental coaching, and that's where we do the bulk of our work in that top space. Now, developmental coaching, performance coaching. This is actually where we're kind of shifting the lens a little bit, and this is helping the leader to be able to work with their team members. And these are those 10-minute conversations. This is this applied coaching where we're working to help leaders be ready in the trenches so that conversations move smoother, okay? That the day-to-day, the leaders feel more confident, they're getting to better answers because they're not fixing any longer. They're really trying to develop and grow their team members. They're not taking, if you're familiar with that HBR article, they're not taking the monkeys from their team members any longer. They're truly developing the competency and capacity of their people. So what this entails, imagine a leader in a 6-month coaching engagement, and the coach says, hey, would you actually like to learn more about the coaching behaviors? Would you like to develop some of these coaching behaviors and bring them back to your team? We have a course called Empowering Conversations, and it is an awesome course. Robin and her team deliver this course, or develop this course. And what it is it's kind of table stakes coaching mindset and skills for all leaders and caregivers. And what's exciting is the language from this course. We've been teaching this course for, gosh, maybe four or 5 years now. And the language of this course is starting to permeate all our spaces. And it's interesting how long something takes to permeate all the spaces. You know this, change management is tough. But we've been beating this drum deliberately for those 5 years. And now it's exciting to hear, terms like, hey, we see each other as whole, resourceful, creative, whole, resourceful, capable, and creative. Amy, have you seen the model, the coach approach model? Yeah, and it's this mindset of how we view each other, and then some, simple basic coaching skills to how to interact with each other. So imagine a leader being introduced to that by their coach, and as starting to take their developmental steps as to becoming a coach. And then imagine another course they could take, which is what we're working on now. It's in development. We've piloted it, but imagine it shifting a little bit. Leader, we're now going to help you develop the skills to be coach-like in your teams, in the trenches, in that day-to-day work, right? It's not going to be that sit down. We're not going to be contracting with your caregivers, but what will happen is you're going to be able to interact in a manner that is very coach-like, and it's performance coach-like, which is, it's all about getting the work done. It's all about making things happen. It's all about empowering your caregivers, and et cetera, et cetera. So, any questions so far? Okay, just know that you can. So now imagine the leader applying these coaching behaviors in their day-to-day. Okay, so they've been applying those. Let's say 3 months later, they're going, darn it, I'm seeing some good things happen. I want to take my coaching journey further. I actually want to become a coach. Okay, so then we get into step 3. Now, a lot just jumped on, so I'm just going to do that again so you can see, boing, all of that just came on there. This is where we invite those leaders, and there's many of them who actually experience coaching, start applying even coaching principles, which wasn't maybe the point of their coaching, but they start to apply it, and they go, you know what, I'd actually like to go further. This is pretty sweet. In fact, many coaches say that coaching is actually some of the best parts of the work that they do, and it's not even their formal job. But okay, so we want our leaders to become Intermountain Health certified coaches. And so what we've done is we've developed a 42-hour course. And what it does is it introduces our leaders to the ICF core competencies. It takes them into some deep coaching behaviors. It actually trains them to become Intermountain Health certified coaches, which is, again, an internal designation. But it does a really great job of getting them down that path of eventually becoming an ICF certified coach or accredited coach. So they take this course, and at the end of it, the leader becomes a coach, and we open them up to taking clients internally, and the cycle continues because now they're coaching and becoming coach and becoming coaching, becoming coach. And so we will have approximately 50 new coaches this year coming into our coaching pool as new coaches. And what's fun is we're pairing them with new leaders. And so, you know, we're helping our coaches work with new leaders, and you know, it's good. It feels good for early coaches to also be kind of cutting their teeth with new leaders. And anyway, we're also, you know, plans in the works. That part 2 there in the coral color, that's something that we're going to be working on here in the next little bit. We'd like to actually develop the whole 60 hours so that we can get our coaches all the way to accreditation internally. So, okay. So thoughts, questions, relevant, not relevant, interesting, not interesting.
I think this is awesome. I love what you're doing. I am ACC certified in the process of getting PCC certified. And I've been in HR my entire career. And for many years, I thought, oh, I'm doing coaching. But until I went through a formal program, it's like, oh, this is what coaching is about. And you talked about listening early on, right? That's such a key skill for coaching. And I just love that you're doing this. When you said 75, I was like, oh my goodness. What a huge impact that you're able to make on the organization, because I think in the past, from an HR perspective, coaching was viewed as something that you did to somebody, right? To a leader. That was a leader who was like maybe a step away from a PIP, a performance improvement plan, right? It's like, oh, you need a coach. Or other organizations I've worked at where we didn't like to give feedback. And so I don't like giving feedback to my leader. So I'm going to have them work with a coach, right? And so it's really understanding the value of coaching, and it's really taking leaders to that next level. And I love that you have the metrics to show what the impact is to your organization. So I think all of it is wonderful, and I am really enjoying this. So thank you for sharing.
Oh, thank you, Julie. Good luck in your PCC as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, Melissa.
Hey, Steve. Melissa Reif Geyer. I'm at Cone Health in North Carolina. Thanks so much for sharing this. This is great information. I'm curious, you know, we have internally trained coaches as well, not dissimilar from the program you've mentioned. Yours is more robust and has, you know, some varying layers. I'm curious, in the pure coaching mindset, we subscribe to the idea that a coachee comes and they identify what they want to be coached on. How do you marry that with the idea that every, you know, new leaders get coaches? Because I love that. And I've, you know, mulled that around in my head for a while. I think it would be incredibly valuable for all new leaders to be paired with a coach during their, you know, onboarding process or first 3 months or something like that. But how do you marry that up with the idea? Because many times that results in, well, I don't know why I'm coming to coaching.
Yeah, great question. Yeah, love it. And, you know, Melissa's really kind of double clicking on the fact that, you know, coaching in its purest form, especially developmental coaching, is a pull activity, meaning that the client or the coachee needs to pull. You can't force coach anybody. It just does not work. And so here's what we do. We actually offer it to our first year leaders, our new leaders. And if they touch on it, we're in, right? If they select it from options, then we're in and we have the pull. But it's been very interesting. Coaching has been word of mouth up till now, and we've just started to experiment with some outbound inside communications to new leaders, and it's surprising the rate at which they pick it up. And so we've only sent out a few of those communications because people pick it up and it's like, okay, well, you know, we're full. So, you know, it's nice to know that you can kind of control that gate. You know, and you think about new leaders, we're offering it to them at about 6 months because we want them to get in, we want them to learn their role, we want them to get into the business, and we think that that's a good period of time where they've probably got some issues they're working with and going, I'm stuck. You know, what do I do now? And so that's where we're kind of proactively offering it. It's a great question.
Excellent. Thank you.
Aubrey, let's see. So many questions. Yeah, you know, it's the difference between coaching, mentoring, and therapy. Can I just share this? It's go out to the web is full of delineations. This is a big question. Here, can I just say this? Here's what's interesting, what I've found. The skills that you learn in coaching can flow into mentoring and into therapy, but it doesn't wash back. Does that make sense? Yeah. So
That's a great way to describe that.
yeah, it's something that I've come to just a couple months ago is it can everything from coaching. That's why I believe coaching is the core to a leadership culture. That's why we're focusing on this, Robin and I and others, is because look, if a leader is more coach-like, look at the results that we're seeing, right? Engagement's up, inclusion is up. And doesn't that make sense too? You have a leader who's a little more curious than normal, willing to ask some questions, willing to hold some space. It feels more emotionally intelligent. It feels more safe. Yeah, so anyway, but yeah, those definitions are out there on that. Let's see. Also, how frequently are you getting coach clients? Every day.
Wow.
Yeah, they come in. And what we do is we go ahead and process those. We make matches. We consider lots of things in making those matches: clinical, non-clinical, level of leadership, level of coach, their ability and confidence. Can you imagine a first-year coach, hanging with a very experienced, medical director? May not be a great match, but you get a more experienced coach with some leadership development background, and you pair that up with a physician, no issues, right? They can go toe to toe because they both know their business. And so, yeah, lots of things going on there. Robin.
Just to go back to the therapy coach mentoring. So at Intermountain, we are very clear that coaching is never used punitively. So it's something that we offer that for their development. And a way I usually describe it is mentoring, we tell you what to do. We impart wisdom. Therapy, we will diagnose you and put you through a treatment plan. I will never diagnose you. With coaching is a thought partnership to help you, ask you pointed questions to help you come to your development in ways that help you, that you couldn't do it yourself. So truly thought partnership. And so every time we also, not only with new leaders, but when we do consults, our team regularly does leader development consults. My entire team are consultants, and coaching is always brought in as a wraparound service that leaders are highly interested in when they want to develop and grow and make it to the next level. Coaching we're always bringing them into coaching and directing them to the website. And it's also infused in the majority of our development programs as well.
Yeah.
Just a couple plugs.
Yeah, thanks, Robin. Love that. Yeah, and so imagine the leadership development programs that you all have, wrapped with a layer of a coach that's maybe connecting with them before, during, and after, and helping them apply. Frankly, I feel that a coaching component to a program is a must anymore. If you don't have somebody who's helping them, coordinate that back into their day job, into their work, the actual work, it's a miss. It's a miss, right? Okay. Lots of cool questions coming out. Let's see. Ever encounter logistic constraints? Yes. But the good news is that we have enough coaches that we can typically find, the coaches that we need. But yeah, what's interesting recently, we've asked all our coaches to declare their availability. And our goal has been that all coaches are working at their declared availability and capacity. And so we've really made a push. Every coach has on average 2 clients, which means about 2 hours per client per month. So it's not a huge lift. And typically they want to be, our coaches are saying, hey, give me more clients, because this is the cool thing, guys. Think about this. many coaches also view it as a career upgrade, like a solid career upgrade. And you know that the coaching business, like the industry, is exploding right now. It is exploding. If I could buy stock in coaching somehow, I would, because coaching is just exploding. It is the next career upgrade for leadership development professionals. I'll just say that cleanly. If you're not becoming a coach, you're probably behind the curve, whatever that curve is. But yeah, okay. We do manual matches, Melissa. We're not using a software right now. We kind of developed something internally that helps with the communications around the coaching process that we've developed. But we haven't dabbled yet into kind of coaching softwares. I've looked at a couple, and I'm open. I'm sure we'll look at them again, but
We're
maybe
using Insala, and I'm kind of middle of the road. It's nice because a coach can turn on or off their availability, and they can state their capacity, and
nice.
it's easy for a coachee to look in the system and see, the coach summaries and who they might like to do. We have people do a good fit call before they're matched. We have them do up 3 good fit calls, and so some of that is good. It is ironically, the system itself is a little bit manual in nature. Somebody really has to manage it to make it work as effectively as you might like. So
Nice. No, thanks. That's a good tip. Okay. Do you want to see slide 2? Slide 3? Robin, yeah.
Jason had a really great question in the chat. I was trying to respond, but I think it's just faster. How did you make the case at the organization level for this particular service need, and any challenges getting buy-in from executive leaders?
Yeah, great question,
Great
Jason.
question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's as I was thinking about this morning, the progression went like this, at least to my knowledge. Our leadership development director, now chief people officer, at the time in 2014 was actually receiving coaching herself. And so number one, she could speak to the value of coaching, okay, in the early conversations. And she started to bring other leaders into coaching, right? She secured a little bit of funding, enough to, let some leaders understand coaching. At the same time, she also started to develop the coaching core. And so imagine a small group of people becoming coaches. So you've got some leaders experiencing it, and you have some leaders over here becoming coaches. And in some cases that overlaps. And it's like you're kind of starting to light that fire, right? You're trying to get that tinder, that spark into the tinder. And sometimes you have to kind of try it again. But through that, letting some experience coaching and letting some become coaches and start coaching internally, that was the spark. That's when it started to grow. And it didn't go, it wasn't the kerosene fire. It was a slow burn, adding some logs on, year over year over year. It's taken us since 2014 to get to where we're at right now. So again, it's a journey, right? I mean, it's been 10 years. And frankly, and there's even been, Jason, there's been boom and bust times from a budgeting perspective. I mean, recently we've had to skinny things down, and the good news is we had the coaching, training in-house developed, and so we could actually keep doing what we were doing because we had gotten to that stage. We weren't, we don't send a lot of coaches out to get, externally coached, trained or certified. We can do most of that in-house now. And so there was spend, right? I mean, to grow it, there was spend. And then now we're finding that there's actually less and less and less spend. And the reach of coaching is getting bigger. And that's the funny thing, is we're spending less than we ever have on coaching, but the reach is getting bigger because of partnerships, like, partnership with Robin and her team, partnership with the organizational development team. It's just the organization's pulling on it in different ways. Okay, thanks.
And one more question, do we ever encounter logistic constraints with our internal coaches making time?
Yeah, I tried to answer that one a little earlier. I'll try again. The answer is yes, at an individual level. Our coaches declare their availability, but you'll be surprised how much they want to do it. And so they typically do make availability. Like, oh, it sounds like this. Oh, I'm busy, but gosh, I'd like a client. And can you give me 2, in fact? And it's like, okay, wow, this is good, because they're viewing it as development. And that's the kind of the fun mix up of coaching here is that the coaches it's not viewed as, it's viewed by them as developmental. And so they come at it with passion, and suddenly they find the time. And that's exciting. It's different. A little different.
Yeah. And Steve, could I add, they're all voluntary with the permission of their managers, knowing that if they raise their hand, that if we train them, we expect them to be
Great
coaching.
point.
So they're all in and really want to do it as part of their jobs. It actually increases their engagement. And Steve has done a great job putting a framework in place. And it really is kind of more of a suggestion. So it allows the client and the coach to schedule as what works best for both of them. Because sometimes it's every week for half an hour, every other for an hour, once a month, especially with physicians. So he really makes it incredibly doable according to that coach. And then when they're assigned, a client gets to interview a couple of different coaches and see what the best match is for them. So schedules align that way too. Steve's really made it incredibly easy.
Thanks, Robin. Hopefully that answers the question, Aubrey. Okay, let's go to the last slide. And so now you've got coaches. Okay, you've got coaches. What do you do to develop and grow them? We suggest this. We created what we call the Intermountain Coaching Community of Practice. And really what it is it's another system. So I showed you what we just looked at is a system, right? It's generative, inputs, outputs, inputs, outputs. This is also generative in nature. And what it is, it's a system, as it says in the kind of the tag there, a system to recruit, educate, support, develop, and recognize our Intermountain coaches. Soup to nuts. And just a very quick run through, the concept of inviting a leader to become a coach. They attend our coaching course. Just notice the hours are actually not correct there. We do check-ins with our coaches. We have a monthly coaching newsletter that we develop internally. We have a community of practice that we get together each quarter. As a whole community. We have practice labs monthly, which are essentially going back to the gym for 90 minutes and breaking into triads and coaching with each other. And the beauty of that is, imagine a PCC coaching with a newly minted Intermountain coach. There's just, everybody's learning. Everybody's learning. The basics are always at play, and tips and techniques are being seen in those higher level coaches. Yeah, Amy, we can, if you want to like pop your email or something, or I've probably got it. We can send an example of a communication. But yeah, it's typically the communication is focused on building knowledge, skill, and then process, because coaches kind of can sometimes forget the process. If it's been a moment or two between when they've had their last coach, their coaching client, they might forget process steps. And so we're also working to help them in that. Mentor coaching, we offer that internally. Mentor coaching is incredibly valuable, especially for those who are wanting to go on to their ICF accreditations. They need mentor coaching hours, and frankly, as their preparing to submit their performance evaluations, it's good to have some mentor coaching to make sure that we're not coach consulting, which is typically what, I think if this group were in danger of, their coaching becoming something other than coaching, it would be consulting. A little bit of telling, kind of knowing where we're going, and in a coach-like manner, really leading them to something that but it felt coachy the whole way. Okay, great. And that's probably, performance consulting, which is, again, things flow that way. Coach-like behaviors also can flow into consulting, and they should, but typically not backwards. We offer internally a course we believe that the strength of our program in the future will be accredited coaches internally. And so we have a course where we're preparing our people to take the exam, to submit their performance evaluations, which is all part of that accreditation process. We're working to recognize our coaches more and more. It's volunteer, so we're looking for ways there. And what's interesting is with all of this, as our coaches gain experience, they jump into that middle piece, which is really what many of them are looking for, are additional opportunities to come from coaching. We're going to help you develop. We're going to help you get your accreditation. And guess what? Come teach the course with us, our internal course. Come back and be a faculty member. Come facilitate a community of practice. Come become a mentor coach, as you can, which ICF has some rules around that. And then there's actually lots of special assignments that we're rolling out around change management coaching and Nurse Leadership Academy coaching and other things as they come up. Again, there's lots of ways we can do this. And thanks, Kevin. And but this feels like development as a coach versus you're a minted coach, go for it, figure it out. We wanted to wrap a community around. Okay, there we are, 3 slides. Thoughts, questions? As you can see, I love this stuff. It's so much fun. Ben.
Hey, thank you for this. This is great. And really appreciate your insights. If you covered this, I'm sorry if I missed it, but as far as your acceptance rate, what does that look like in terms of if I have a leader that comes and says, I want to be a coach, I can't imagine you're just like, come one, come all. And then what's kind of also your pass rate too? And even not to like make this the biggest question in the world, but some level of quality assurance, like once they make it through all the steps to ensure that that the coachees are having the most having a desirable experience with a coach.
Yeah, lots of great questions. Let's start with that last question first. That would be the mentor coaching and the coach supervision that happens. The checking and also the check-ins. 3 ways that I can connect in with coaches along their growth journey. Check-ins, how are they doing? How's it going? Is it what they thought it was? Mentor coaching, me observing a recorded session of them coaching and discussing feedback, right? That's really the quality control there, Ben. But also practice labs. You get in there and you're working it out in a triad, and you can see what's going on. You can hear where their head's at, where their focus is. So those are 3 things we do, and we observe them throughout the course as well. The pass rate is high. I would say it's probably in the 90s. From that perspective. As far as getting into the coach certification course, yeah, there's always more who want to get in than we can. Our cohort that we're running right now is about 28 people, and it's so 28 coaches being developed right now, and we run that course twice a year. But yeah, we turn quite a few away and keep them on the wait lists and stuff like that. So.
And there's no, I guess, disqualifying or like multiple hurdle process where you kind of weed out maybe those that might not be ideal candidates.
Yeah, there is an application process. It's a special, they respond to a number of questions that we pose that they, complete some responses around. We also look at, have they attended the training courses that we offer? Have they also been coached? That's a big one, surprisingly big one. If you don't get it, you know, and you come in, you know, and some of the responses you get are like, "Yay, I can't wait to share all my knowledge and wisdom of my 30 years here at the industry," you know, and you're like, okay, that's mentoring, you know, we don't want any of that, you know, not really. We don't want that, not here. But hey, we've got a mentoring program. Come do all of that over here. Yeah, great questions. And there's so many nuances to all this, right? And even to get to this community of practice, it's taken us a long time. So if you're feeling, you know, you know, don't worry about it, and feel free to reach out. Love to chat or talk or discuss. The juice is worth the squeeze, if you're wondering. It's worth the squeeze. It's such a, you know, it raises boats, and to see the results that we saw at the very beginning, it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting to share that with your chief people officer and have them go, nice, you know, really, because they're keying in on the engagement surveys, right? Okay. What else? All right. Well, thank you for your time. It's been fun to have a conversation.
Thank you, Steve. We do have about 10 minutes left in our conversation for today. Steve, feel free to stay and hang out. Want to give folks the floor if there are any burning questions you have for each other, or discussion topics you want us to consider for future meetings. We'll leave that the last 10 minutes or so for them.
I think everybody left it all on the dance floor, Jen.
Fine by me. Steve took our breath away. Well, thank you, everyone. We'll end a little bit early, give you some time back to your day. If you have any questions, always feel free to reach out to Megan or I. And hope you have a great rest of your week.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
See you.
everyone.